break up with her. Well, if it's happening on a regular basis, then figure out a solution. Decide if this relationship is worth being in. I mean, if you're constantly fighting, then there's something wrong. Work it out. Talk about it. You know, can they go talk to a school counselor together? If they really want to work on the relationship, that would be something if they, if they both really want to be in the relationship, then maybe seeking help.
So the important thing to realize is the dynamic of any relationship. So in the beginning of any relationship, whether it's a healthy relationship or an unhealthy relationship, people are in this honeymoon phase where they're glazed over and they're only seeing the good attributes of the other person. So they're at their best. They look the most beautiful they'll ever look. They're the nicest they'll ever be. Everything about that person looks amazing. And then the natural phase of a relationship moves into where you start trying to discover if this is the person that you're really supposed to be with. And the way that humans discover that is by challenging each other to see if they're a good fit or not. So debating in a relationship is very, very healthy. It helps you define not only who you are, but who you are in the relationship and whether you guys are a good fit or not. But there's a difference between debating and fighting. Fighting comes from a bad intent, where you're trying to hurt somebody or you're trying to be right. And if you guys are disagreeing on a subject, that's very different than if you're fighting or being abusive or hurtful to the other person. So first you have to figure out, are you guys debating issues or things that you like or things that you don't like, or are you guys actually fighting and trying to be hurtful? If you're trying to be hurtful and you're fighting, at that point you need to realize and stop and look at what you're fighting about and decide if these issues are really important and worth fighting for. If you really believe in what you're fighting for, then maybe this isn't the right person for you because you guys don't match on these issues. If it's something that's really not worth fighting for, then you need to step back sometimes and decide that it's just not worth it and let the argument go.
So if they're in a heated argument or fighting over something, then just tell her that this isn't the moment to talk and that they need to talk at a later time when both of them are cool and can talk about it without being aggressive towards each other.
Okay, so communication skills are really important, especially when you're debating a subject. When you're disagreeing with somebody about something, it's important that you do so in a respectful manner, and it's important that you do so in a way that shows the other person that while you may not agree with what they're saying, you may not feel the same way, you're still hearing where they're coming from and you're still hearing what they're saying. It's really important to feel that you're being heard. When you're communicating these kinds of things, it's important not to tell the person how they're feeling, but to just talk about how you're feeling. You talk about how you're feeling, what you think, what you like, and not necessarily tell the other person about how they're feeling or what they think or what they like. And then when you do that, you're taking out a judgment, because often that person doesn't want you to tell them about how they feel. And that ends up being one of the biggest arguments between especially men and women in relationships, is one telling the other person how they feel or how they should feel or how they think or how they should think. So you want to really separate those two issues, and you want to discuss only about what you think and what you feel. And it's important to use respectful language, to not say things that are incredibly emotional. And if you find yourself getting to a point that is too emotional, to step back and take a time out and say, I don't feel like right now I can adequately or respectfully talk to you because I'm upset. And it's okay to be upset. You just need to recognize that and be able to take that step back and gather your thoughts and then come back at a different time to be able to discuss it with them. And make sure that, again, that you're just coming from your perspective and that you're not coming from theirs. And always use respectful language.
If you are in a relationship and feel the need to seek for help, you can always talk to one of the Wild Eyes